Remember, this entire manga and every manga on this channel is hand-drawn by myself, and now you too can learn exactly how to make your own viral Dragon Ball mangas at www.makemanga.com, where you can learn directly from me. My mangas have got me on TV, on newspapers, and even earned me over $60,000 a month on Patreon alone. And now, you can click the link in the description and pinned comment of this video and do it yourself. You only need to see the website to see just how many thousands of you are taking this opportunity right now. And don't forget also, the next video to this Ultra Vegito series has already been made and is live now on my Patreon right now for over 4,500 of you incredible fans to watch after this. Again, links are in the pinned comment and description. Enjoy. So our story continues with Ultra Lucif in the body of our dear Vegito. In the air, having freshly transformed into the half Ultra Instinct and half Ultra Ego state, with his piercing red eyes still on show. Before, with a cocky grin, the Demon Saiyan hybrid would look down to his younger brother and say, I always did like this form. It may not allow me to bring out all of my devilish powers, but with how weak you seem now, my dear Dai, things should be far more equal now. But this outburst would just fuel the Grand Priest's dismay, as now annoyed, he would respond, I had hoped all that time to yourself in the demon realm would have humbled you, elder brother. But you have come out just as deluded as you ever were. Look at you. You actually believe in your heart of hearts you could defeat me with a mere mortal's body? It's clear. This is not your choice, but rather your only option, isn't it, Lucif? Vegito does not desire to give you full control, and most likely never will. It is the pride of these Saiyans that will be your downfall, no matter how much you try to compliment them. But regardless of hearing this, Lucif would maintain his smile, looking into his fist and replying, You may be right. This Vegito hasn't allowed me to let loose completely just yet. But you know better than anyone. He certainly had more and more of a taste as time has gone on. And I suspect soon enough he will need it all to finish you and Zeno off completely. But we shall see. For now, dear brother, I'm going to enjoy a second chance to see you bleed. Whether through my hands or through these Saiyans, it's all the same to me. Before then turning his gaze and pointing behind to Goku, continuing, Don't forget, young Dai, I'm not the only one to worry about here. Seems this one has managed to master your own technique and improve on it further. Maybe he'll be the one to kill you. As when we cut back to Goku in his all-new Super Saiyan 2 Seraphim form, his hair would now be a divine white, spiked out to all hell, along with cyan bolts of lightning covering him to match his angelic eyes. As in awe, he would comment, Whoa! I had a feeling I could do this, but I didn't think it would really work. maintaining a Super Saiyan while using Seraphim abilities is hard enough, but looks like I can go a few steps further. Before now, with his confidence rebuilt and a smirk on his face, Goku would add, I guess I should have more faith in myself. If you two have more forms, I'll have just as many to compete. Insolent mortal! Instantly angering both Z and S, who look on with disapproval at the Saiyan saying, change your hair as much as you like, mortal. All you are doing is polluting the divine energy of the angels with your weak Saiyan powers, making it all the more easy for us. But looking to the side at Goku, almost jealous, Ultra Ego Vegeta, with his purple hair and missing eyebrows, would grunt, typical Kakarot. Always trying to steal the spotlight, and always with something new up his sleeve. I had a feeling he was holding back against light. Before then looking back towards the other Goku on the field, the god of destruction from the past, who Vegeta would then let out to, and what about you? Are you really worthy of the name Kakarot? Or are you just going to be a letdown? Show me what form you have to match me this time, Destroyer! I have nothing to prove to you, monsters! But full of rage and slightly annoyed with the smiles on his opponents' faces, Destroyer Goku would just explode into a furious aura. As his own hair turns purple, his own eyebrows vanish, and his Destroyer garb rips off completely in the process. Finally, having activated his very own Ultra Ego state, but with a key addition, as 4 Destroyer symbols would also appear on his chest, much like they did on Toppo, as Goku, with gritted teeth, would yell, I don't know about ego, but this is my Ultra Destroyer form! Huh? Ultra Destroyer? Immediately shocking Vegeta with not only the transformation differences, but his naming. As with a bemused look, he would comment, so, he does have the same forms, but what's with the symbols of the Hakaishin? Is that one step further than mine? But right on the other side, a smiling Seraphim Goku would not be able to contain his smugness, as looking at the Destroyer Goku, he would say, well, would you look at that? He really is me, Vegeta, and it looks like, no matter the timeline, I always have you beat, my friend. Shut it, Kakarot! To which comedically Vegeta, with a very ticked-up face, would just yell back, you haven't got me beaten this timeline, let alone his, clown! Until finally, back with a smile, Vegeta would just raise his fists to battle and say towards the Destroyer, fine! Rather than just talk, I'll let you prove your strength, Kakarot! Show me what this Ultra Destruction is, and if it matches up to my ego. And on command, Destroyer Goku would step back into his signature fighting stance, readying himself for impending battle as he quickly quips back, if this Ultra Ego of yours is anything like your actual ego, then I'm in for some trouble. But either way, I'm not leaving here until I bring you all to justice. We are the only ones who need justice, clown! No, you're not! As both, fueled by their own desires to make things right for their own families and timelines, would then shoot off straight for each other. Enraged, their muscles and veins bulging uncontrollably, as covered in pure destruction energy, the two masters of Hakai would aim to erase each other once and for all, and cement their superiority. And as the two destruction-based Saiyans would fire straight towards each other, in the distance, the royal guards would watch on as if peering at a zoo exhibit. Until with two serious looks on their faces, S would say, "Brother, it appears we have reached phase 2 of Zeno's show. I believe we begin bringing this to a close." Which Z would reply, "As you wish, brother." As suddenly, with two divine roars, both of the royal guards' faces would simply distort and morph wildly, stretching to twice the length as their mouths explode open crazily until... Just like that, both Z and S would suddenly transform into a familiar state. The same form we last saw Z in when he defeated Vegito. Now each with a seraphim eye activated and one angel wing unleashed on the side of their eye. As S, particularly animated, would yell, "This is the final thing you will ever see, Saiyan! This is what stopped your pathetic fusion! And with my brother here too, your end is nigh!" But as Goku would hear this, his face would remain emotionless, just covering himself from the oncoming wind as he would think briefly, "Guess these guys are done with the warm-up too. This is the most I've ever seen from them, even against Vegito. From here on out, it's all unknown." Huh? And speaking of the unknown, immediately, S, who had never fought before in this form, would then vanish, much to Goku's surprise. What? Only to appear directly behind Goku with speed, seemingly so fast, Goku himself could barely react. And taking his advantage to the max, from behind, S would cock back ready to strike. No! But as he would land, it would seem something far more shocking than simply vanishing would be facing him from Goku. Pow! As stunningly, S's punch would be blocked by Goku, but not by the limb you would be expecting, as a divine white wing of Goku's own would then flutter out and defend instead, stopping S instantly. And looking back with a smile, pleased with himself, Goku would just comment, "I told you, for every form you've got, I've got one too. Let's see what else can be done with these wings. You're more used to them than I am, right? Show me." "I will show you nothing but pain, you cretin!" But Goku's order to such a divine being would only serve to send S into a frenzy of rage, as he yells once more, increasing his power level until... He would strike Goku once more, but the Saiyan just in time, would turn completely around to grab his first punch. But not his second, which would land flush on Goku's nose, leaving the Saiyan grunting in pain as his eyes are forced closed. But it wouldn't be long before the Saiyan would get his own back, slamming a kick hard onto the ribs of S with an audible crack heard on impact. And with his teeth gritted, S's pain would be clearly visible, as he would begin looking back and grunting, "Z, are you going to do anything or not?" Leading to Z popping up out of nowhere to fire a powerful beam directly on Goku's occupied body, but only for the Seraphim instinct-using Saiyan to completely dodge, tilting his entire spine backwards, Matrix style. And just as stylishly as Goku's body would bend back, he would spring his feet up as if elasticated to slam both of the roll guards simultaneously, hard on their chins. Eventually regaining himself back to normal position in the air, while the two brothers just grit their teeth in annoyance, yelling, "He's even trickier than the God Killer! Who is this mortal?" You know me already from the Tournament of Power. My name is Goku, the first Saiyan you ever saw use Ultra Instinct. And now, you'll see me do the same thing, mastering the Seraphim right in front of you. All you are my training partners. And as the two brothers then just grumble, not saying a word, and even as lines of blood would come down their mouth from Goku's last attack, S would eventually ask, "Was this Saiyan always this cocky? I seem to remember him being more humble." To which Z would reply, "No, I remember the same. It seems all that time in the God Killer has had an effect on him too. Overconfident and severely lacking the abilities to back it up." Let's see about that! But our hero, eager to prove the two wrong, would then suddenly power up a cyan-colored energy ball in his palm and rush straight forward without fear at the duo once more. Brother? But as Goku would do this, S would seemingly lose his patience, putting his hands together in a familiar fashion from the past as his brother would look on curiously, until S would let out, "He may not be demonic, but he should be sent down nonetheless. He won't be the first angel pretender to have fallen, but he will certainly be the last." But as Goku redirects his attack to S in fear, instantly a divine energy barrier would emerge as if automatically, stopping Goku's energy like it were nothing, no matter how hard the Saiyan would push, struggling to penetrate. Z! But as Goku would push to the side, the other brother would arrive once more to allow S to finish charging whatever it was he was doing, looking at Goku and proclaiming, "For now, your battle shall only be with me!" But even on saying this, as he would attack, Goku would just vanish from all sight. annoying the god as he comments, "Typical. You say you're a Saiyan, but you certainly lack the fighting spirit, coward!" As Goku's feet would then land just back on the ground, and with an emotionless look, he would stare above at the two gods, thinking internally, "I sense a heck of a lot of energy being generated from that other one. If I didn't know any better, I think he's about to do the same thing he did to Vegito." As when we look back to the brother, Z would yell out, "Brother, are you done yet? Seems our friend here would rather run than battle me hand to hand anyway. If that's the case, perhaps I should just join you." And as S would close his eyes, grumbling in deep concentration, he would respond, Almost there." Before just as quickly, the god would then raise his hand straight into the air and declare, "I am done. Join me, brother, if you wish to not be part of the collateral." To which now, with a smirk of confidence finally on his countenance, Z would begin lifting his own hand, saying as he does so, "Oh, how generous of you, dear brother. I wouldn't dare deny being a part of this." What? Both of them? As now in the air, two royal guards and two brothers in arms would be holding both their palms into the sky, covered in Saiyan seraphim energy, and would just menacingly overwatch in the sky. As Seraphim Goku below would just stare in shock at the idea of both warriors teaming to do the most divine of all moves. Akobel and Castiel unite! Behold, the double holy smite! As now increasingly roaring their energy, tensing their muscles, Z and S would reveal what they had been planning this entire time, powering up the most powerful of all Seraphim techniques as their Saiyan energy fluxes into the heavens themselves, with S being the mastermind and more calm of the two, just looking down on Goku and letting out, "There is more to being a Seraphim than just obtaining our eyes and wings, young mortal. And you will learn in one final flash just what that is. Think hard on this moment as you spend the rest of your years down with the demons." A double smite? Cool. But in the face of what we would assume is near certain erasure, Seraphim Goku would just continue to smile. Almost enthused by the whole situation, he yells back, "This is just the test I wanted. Your ultimate Seraphim ability against mine. I haven't mastered it just yet, and even Vegito said it wasn't as good as yours. But in this new form, I bet it will make all the difference." As Goku too would then instantly launch his own left hand into the sky and say, "Here goes nothing." As now concentrating hard, all of the Saiyan's energy would begin to concentrate and solidify at the base of his palm, emulating perfectly what the royal gods did before him, but with his own key twist that we all know by now. As Z would then finally scream, "Holy!" and S, "Smite!" while in tandem, Goku would roar,
Dragon Smite!
and just like that, all three Seraphim warriors would unleash the most all-powerful angel techniques in history. Launch straight at each other like sitting ducks, with only one victor ultimately making it out. But as the two divine smites would come to fruition, there would be more than just two large beams of light, as two giant apparition versions of Z and S would form from the smite energy in Saiyan, while on Goku's side, an entire dragon would emerge, completely losing Goku within. The giant warriors in fighting stance, ready to cause ultimate destruction, while the legendary creature just roars primally, its long body tangling endlessly until... In one giant entanglement, the titanic creatures would all collide with each other, with Goku's dragon wrapping around the gods, constricting them, while conversely, the giant warriors would hold closed the gaping mouth of the dragon by force, each trying to gain the upper hand on each other, giving a visual representation of whose Seraphim energy is stronger until... All three would push it to the max, but ultimately would end in one gigantic divine explosion of smite that spreads far and wide, its light being so all-encompassing that one by one, each of their faces would then be lost within it, leaving only their Saiyan eyes to burn through. For now, it seems like a draw. And soon enough, the utter vastness of this mega explosion would be visible all over the divine lands of Zeno's world, with everything just becoming a shade of white as it too is lost in its luminescence. But despite the lack of color everywhere else, two small, purple-colored dots would be visible, moving towards each other regardless of the situation at breakneck speeds.
Kakarot! Vegito!
And revealed would be the two masters of destruction, Vegeta and God of Destruction Goku, continuing their raging battle, not concerned whatsoever with what would be going on in the other fights around them.
Damn you!
But as they would collide, the Hakaishin symbol-clad Goku would be the one who initially has the upper hand, grabbing and pushing Ultra Ego Vegeta's angered face away as if he were a rabid dog, as he would yell, "You're no destroyer, Vegeta! You're insulting the name by even using this form!" While Vegeta would just reply muffled, "You damn punk! You're from the past! I learned this technique before you were even born!" Leading to Vegeta then eventually removing his hand and attempting to throw a fist back, but Goku would quickly dodge. And so too would Vegeta on the reverse, but the prince, curiously, would have a smirk on his face. And the smirk would seemingly not be for no reason, as immediately following this, the prince would land a strike flush in the stomach of Goku, as he would quip, "You sure it's me who insults the name of Destroyer, Kakarot?" "Yeah, it's still you, Vegeta. as shockingly, despite being struck hard in the stomach, would seem it would be on purpose, as now gripping hard onto Vegeta with his right arm, in his left, the God of Destruction would reveal an already powered up ball of Hakai, ready to erase the vulnerable Vegeta. That would be what we assume at least, but Vegeta himself would just be smiling as he leans over to Goku's ear and whispers,
Young Kakarot, you may think you're smart in your timeline, but in mine, I'm the one with the brains!
As within Vegeta's own left arm, he too would then have already thought ahead and powered up his own ball of Hakai. And like two cowboys quick drawing, immediately not wanting to let the other strike first, both Saiyans would simultaneously swivel round, launching their Hakais at each other until... slamming destruction against destruction, the two rivals would collide their energies with screams of fury. Until eventually, with their collision having no victor, the two would use the blowback to each jump far off to gain some distance. Only for each of the ultra ego powered warriors to then let off sadistic crazed smiles, as even more balls of Hakai are summoned at their fingertips, with Vegeta commenting with a big grin, I haven't had to use this much Hakai in a long time. Beerus would be proud. While Goku would respond, Beerus? You mean the god you killed, Vegeta? I'll honor him well by making sure you never use our abilities again! And immediately, in tune with one another, each would then shoot off a barrage of Hakai blasts all at once at each other, hoping just one would make contact and completely erase the other. But as the destruction-filled balls of energy would clash against each other, their equal force and nature would just force themselves to collide and bounce off each other, ultimately leading to huge amounts of Zeno's planet and palace all being affected by the dispersing attacks, causing destruction and erasure to dust all over. So much so, even the great mushroom on which Zeno's entire land sits on would slowly now start disappearing too. Whoa! Look at that! But uniquely, the owner of this world would not be fazed or angry in the slightest, still maintaining his childlike glee and innocence, as with his eyes wide open, Zeno would yell, More! 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 I'll have Dai rebuild it all! I like breaking things! But meanwhile, back with the Saiyans, they would hardly be able to even hear what Zeno would request, as completely exhausted, the two would be lost in their own huffs and puffs. Alright, let's see what happens with this then. I'd be shocked if this bounces back too. As with a crazed smile, Destroyer Goku would then place his hands together and yell, Kame! While an up for it Vegeta, smiling back, would reply, Well, I suppose what's the worst that could happen? Hey, Kakarot? Final! As Vegeta in retaliation would then outstretch his arms for an iconic move of his own. giggling away as all his destruction energy would concentrate down into one final attack before... Hakai! Hakai! And just like that, both would unleash their Hakai variants of their ultimate attacks, and they would instantly meet head-on in the middle, creating a truly destructive collision, not too unlike what was just seen by the gods and Seraphim Goku. I will not let you get away with this! And I will not let you make a fool of me in this timeline and yours, clown! As both, with their convictions and determination, would put in their all to erase the other from existence. But as the two beams would clash with all their might, suddenly a distortion would occur, as within, something extraordinary would be happening. As from within the literal apex of two of the most powerful Hakai-infused attacks in history, Lucif and Dai would be battling regardless. Launching a flurry of punches at the priest that all get dodged. Before missing a kick. And then getting a punch stopped mid-extension with Dai's knee alone. Until... both Dai and Lucif would pull back their fists to now collide. And from the looks on their faces, it would only be the God Killer that would even be trying. And finally, their two fists would smash against one another. The first sign in a while there is even some level of evenness between the two fighters. As with Dai's emotionless face on show, Lucif would grunt with his teeth bared, as simply a humongous unleashing of all types of energy is then released on impact like a shockwave. What? Die! Vegito! Master! Eventually culminating in a mid-pseudo explosion that decimates everything in its path and stops all five of the other fighters from doing anything more, as they watch on in complete awe. And perhaps even Lucif would realize his current form is nowhere near enough, as soon after making contact, Lucif himself would disappear suddenly. Dear brother, as I had told you, believing a mortal would be enough to harness your power was a grave miss. Suddenly, reappearing straight in front of the mid-monologue Dai, Lucif would emerge mid-flight, kneeing the younger brother straight on the nose, shouting as he does so, I thought the first thing I ever taught you was to never let your guard down. Mother really would be disappointed in you. Immediately causing the priest to jump back in astonishment, grunting with his eyes closed as if he had not experienced the idea of pain in millennia until... Something would come down his nose. A liquid that could only be one thing. My blood! As looking at it in astonishment, it would seem for the first time in a very long time, Dai would be faced with the shocking sight of his own blood on his hand. And worse, from technically the assault of a mere mortal.
You should not have done that! Your time came to an end long ago, Lucifer!
As with a demonic roar that sounds suspiciously like one we would have heard from Lucifer, the younger brother Dai would lose all sense of calm, yelling at the top of his voice as momentarily his pupils disappear, and a strange but powerful sphere of angelic energy begins to form around him, growing at a rapid rate.
Die!
Whoa! Sending every one of the other fighters flying back uncontrollably from the unexpected power. And...
Die? When did you...
even leaving Ultra Lucif covering his body and shutting his eyes from the intense pressure and wind.
Show off!
But eventually, the demon would begin opening his eyes once more as the dust settles, slowly until... something unexpected would be left in his line of sight that would well and truly leave the elder brother in a state of paralysis.
Die!
As before him now, with a Saiyan symbol on his forehead, the Grand Priest, seemingly having entered a new state, would emerge right in front of the God Killer with his palm directly facing him. And for a brief moment, there is a moment of silence as the two siblings look into each other's eyes, giving what seems a non-verbal goodbye until...
No! Die! Wait!
Until, just like that, in a wave of smite-infested seraphim energy, the devil, aka the God Killer, aka Ultra Vegito, is no more. But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag SMITE in the comments down below and let me know just what will Goku and Vegeta do now that Ultra Vegito has been sent away. Or just find out what happens right now on my Patreon, where you can see the full next video, fully voice acted, soundtracked, and edited for you to enjoy with over 4,500 plus other fans, as well as getting access to 250 plus other fan mangas too. It's the deal of the century.